The following is an Infinity One Productions presentation, keeping it honest, insightful, interactive. Covering the latest in wrestling and beyond, you're listening to the RCWR Show with Lee Sanders and Diamond K.
The RCWR Show is our Tuesday Night Wrestling Report edition. Thank you all so much for checking out tonight's episode right now on March 12th, 2013. Live right now. I know we had a couple of people that might have read some of the tweets we were putting out at least about an hour ago. It was looking really weird. We were having some technical difficulties over here, and I don't know what the hell was going on, but the internet was tripping big time. Had some wiring problems. Phone line was working good, but I could not open up a laptop for the love of me and connect to the internet. And it was looking as though we weren't going to have a show tonight, but luckily, I don't know what the hell happened. I know we had got a little bit of bad rain over here. Maybe that had played a part of it. I don't know, but I'm happy that we're able to do a show for you guys tonight, as it is our one-year anniversary. And I was definitely going to be bummed out if we weren't going to be able to do a show for you all tonight. Now, originally I had sent Diamond an email letting him know we weren't going to be doing a show, but then once I saw everything was running pretty smoothly, I had sent him a tweet letting him know that, hey, show's back on. So hopefully he got both. Hopefully he didn't get the email. And we definitely will have him be a part of tonight's show, as I definitely want to pick his brain on what all had went down from WWE Raw this past Monday night. Meantime, hey, kick on back, smile. We got the chat room that's open for you guys right now over on blogtalkradio.com. You're more than welcome to jump in there when you get a free moment. You can also take the time out to interact with us on Twitter. It is up at Infinity1Prod. And for all the latest on upcoming shows, we highly encourage you to add new Twitter page over at the RCWR Show. That's right, the RCWR Show now has its own Twitter page, and you can just follow that for upcoming shows, special guests that's going to be coming through, all that good stuff. All right, so while we're kicking back, just relaxing, waiting on Diamond K to join us, I want to definitely take this time out. We've made it. 170-plus episodes later, here we are. It's our one-year anniversary. Who'd have thought we'd last this long? I honestly did not think that we were going to last this long, but we're here, and I think this definitely is a true testament to what happens when you stay dedicated and you stay focused and you try to live out your dream. You try to do the damn thing. And, we know that some people, there's people out there that may not kind of like what's going on with their life, or we may have a group of people that, may not like the fact that, it seems like this person is able to have all these things going on, that should be me, how come it's not me, well, blah, 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 yakety spackety. The bottom line is this. Everybody wants to sit up and they want to try to compare themselves. And this is what I've actually been coming across the past year. There's actually those that have their own respected shows that want to try to compare themselves to us. Now, some, they give us our props. Others, they may feel that they do a better job than us. And you know what? Everybody's entitled to their own opinions. I think Kevin Nash says it best. Opinions are like assholes. Everybody has them. And, different strokes for different folks. Some people like a tongue-in-cheek type of flavor. Other people like that whole, laid back, maybe a funny approach. Different strokes for different folks. And, I'm proud to say that over the 170-plus episodes that we have done over the course of the year, one thing I can proudly kick back and say to you guys is we've never tried to kick back and emulate anybody. We've just tried to do what we do and what we know doing best, which is talking about wrestling for you guys. And it's not going to change. I know we've had some people try to kick back and tell us that we need to follow the traditions of a couple of shows and, you know what, to follow somebody else, you're not being a leader. You're damn sure not being original. And that's all I got to say about that. That's the bottom line. You know, it's all about being original for us and continuing to push that creative envelope, always trying to figure out how can we top what we did the episode before or what we did the previous week. It's all about evolution. If you know your Pearl Jam songs, do the evolution. So, you know, it's very humble I am right now to be on here a year later, and I'm still talking about what I love, what I've been loving since the 80s, which is wrestling. And on that note, let's go on ahead and let's talk about what you might have missed from Monday Night Raw this past week, where it was a Paul Bearer tribute episode. As really, you knew it was going to happen. Now, I know some people were a little bit startled when they saw what went down in that opening segment, but I was literally kicking back, and I'm like, yeah, go figure. I knew they were going to go that route. Of course, what was on the minds of a lot of wrestling fans was, is WWE going to kick back, and are they going to try to take the death of William Paul Bearer Moody and turn it into some type of a storyline? Are they going to try to capitalize on his death? And a lot of folks were under the impression, well, no, maybe they won't go that route. Maybe they'll just go a route where they'll just honor the man and they'll just have some great 4- or 5-star quality type of matches. They couldn't possibly go that route. Why would they need to go that route? It's CM Punk and Undertaker. They don't need that crap, right? On the contrary, how about the way Raw kicked off? Undertaker, he comes on out after a emotional video package of Paul Bearer is shown, and you're thinking maybe he's going to utter a word, but that doesn't even happen. We just see the dead man walk into the ring, and there is that trademark urn kicking back on a little pedestal, a little purple covered pedestal. Same urn that Paul Bearer used to walk down the ring with all those years that he was alongside Undertaker, Mankind, Kane, dropping the one knee and just giving salute to that bad boy. And then we hear the music. Oh, the music of In Living Colors, Cult of Personality. And CM Punk, the arrogant little prick that he is, comes on out and says, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be disrespectful to you, but I just want to offer my condolences and say sorry for your loss at WrestleMania. I mean, that is just like, you just got burned there, dude. And, you kick it back, you're watching that, and you're just like, I can't believe that they just went there. And indeed they did, as we see CM Punk, and he is just feeling ever so confident and cocky, saying he's going to be the one to deliver that 20-1 record to the dead man at this year's WrestleMania. Now, man, talk about head games. And remember, when it comes to The Undertaker, we've seen him in his time. He is the king when it comes to playing mind games with folks. Hasn't really gone that all hardcore within recent years. But, man, way for CM Punk to just really get into the head of him. And, of course, we saw Kane come out. He wanted to get a little bit of payback for CM Punk interfering in this special tribute moment. Well, almost had him, but CM Punk ran like the punk that he is. Later on, we would find out that CM Punk would be put in a no disqualification match against Kane, which was one hell of a way to close out Raw. I saw it. I can't remember the last time we saw CM Punk close out Raw. Feels like it's been forever, let alone he's working with the big red monster, Kane. Guys, you kind of got to maybe go back over to SmackDown Possibly, as it's been a while since Kane has closed out an episode. As far as a singles match goes, I dare say you almost maybe have to go as far back possibly with the rivalry that he had going on there with John Cena that ended up being if I'm not mistaken, an ambulance match. You might have to go back that far, and if you were to go back a little bit more farther, you might have to go back to when Kane was the World Heavyweight Champion over on SmackDown. So very kick-ass to just kick back and see CM Punk, Kane doing their thing. And how about the insult to injury? At the end of the match there, we hear the gong. Sounds like Undertaker's getting ready to come out, but he's nowhere in sight. CM Punk's distracted, trying to see where the Phenom's going to be coming from, which direction. Undertaker doesn't even come out. Kane just able to capitalize with a choke slam from hell, picks up the 1-2-3. Then Undertaker comes out, joining Kane in a post-celebration as they drop down to one knee, throwing that mighty hand up there to the sky, paying homage to the late Paul Bearer. But then CM Punk does the unthinkable. He grabs the urn, which was chilling outside the ring over by the announcer's table, grabs it, assaults Kane with it. Undertaker, now, we've only seen him slowly walk down to the ring, but for those of you that were watching, surely you peeped out how fast he was moving into that ring. He might have not been running, but his legs seemed to be working pretty damn good at the pace that he was going, which was relatively urgent as he wasn't able to get his hands on Punk in time. CM Punk closing out the show, looking on at Undertaker, mocking him, dropping on to that one knee and just holding that urn high in the sky and kissing that bad boy to piss off Undertaker, to just make him do that cutthroat gesture, that trademark cutthroat gesture that we've all come to know and love, as that is the sign that you are a dead man come WrestleMania. Kick-ass moment right there. I loved it. But you know what I loved even more was kicking back and interacting with some of you all on Twitter and getting you all's reactions to CM Punk, who really was getting that heel heat on Monday night. I want to kick on back and I want to read a couple of comments to you all. These are actual comments from people on Twitter that had some very interesting things to say about CM Punk. And let's pull it up. And for the most part, it was actually pretty more leaning towards CM Punk, how could you, or WWE, how could you. We had a surprising couple of other people that made some very interesting observations on this, though. One of them being, hey, we get all this. WWE really didn't even do a hell of enough good job plugging Seth Rollins' debut match in singles competition against The Big Show. Yes, you heard me right on that, folks. Hard to believe it, but WWE, they actually did not plug it. Let's read some of the comments from what you all had thought about that CM Punk interference in the Paul Bearer tribute. Let's go with Bruce Bucklefart. You can't make that up. At Tom Wilco, WWE. I've been a wrestling fan since WrestleMania 21, but that maybe was one of the biggest amounts of heel heat I've seen. Leslie Anderson at Leslie Page, she said, push the story later. I'm sure tribute shows of the past put the story lives on pause for a week. Give the man his 10-minute tribute. Specsavers Leno, that was disrespect. That was the most disrespectful segment on Raw I've ever seen. Whoever wrote that should be ashamed. Black Hood, wow, I can't believe WWE just did that. Very tasteless, entertaining, but tasteless. Russ Brave, CM Punk, that was Charles Barkley, terrible. Most offensive part of the segment, WWE did not advertise Seth Rollins wrestling in singles competition for the first time. So that gives you the gist of what some people had thought about this particular segment. But, the one thing that kind of jumps out there in my mind is I was seeing the video packages compiled of old footage and new footage. And old footage was definitely evident in case you had missed the full set of hair that Vince McMahon had. That was done like a couple of years back. I'm kicking back and I'm looking at what some of the folks were able to say about Paul Bearer, rather the newer stuff than the old stuff, because that really didn't do anything for me, as anybody can just throw that on together. But I couldn't help but kick back and kind of go, okay, well, was Paul Bearer really honored this past Monday night, or was he disrespected? That's the thought that kind of clicked into my head, because if you're going to honor the man, you're going to kick back and you're going to do like they did, and you're going to give this special little video tributes, which I thought was a nice little touch. Every segment, they gave us another Paul Bearer moment from WWE, WWF history, of course, his debut, him coming back at WrestleMania 20, what was that, back in 2004. Good solid moments that they had brought all throughout the night. And, I thought that was a very nice touch. But, honestly, I was kind of starting to get the impression from this CM Punk Undertaker rivalry that there was no hook. You know what I'm saying, guys? There wasn't that, oh, hell yeah, this is going to be a good-ass match. I can't wait to see this. Oh man, this storyline's bomb. There wasn't that main hook to really reel you into checking out this rivalry, feeling invested into it. And I just can't help but kick back and wonder, if the death of Paul Bearer didn't go down, what would they have done this week? Would CM Punk had just come out, cut a promo talking about how he had beat 3 other men to win the right to take on the Undertaker, and then Undertaker come out and maybe he cuts a promo and tells him, see, you just sealed your fate because you're going to be a dead man come WrestleMania? What would have happened right there? We really didn't have anything to really sink into. So it's very interesting timing, I will say, and I'm choosing my words very carefully. I think it's a very interesting time right now that the death of Paul Bearer happened, because now you kind of have a little something to actually feel invested in. And, there's plenty of directions that this can go. I mean, one that just jumps out there off the break is the fact that CM Punk has to earn. I mean, my God, man, CM Punk could just keep holding on to that bad boy right on up until WrestleMania 29. That's a possible angle right there. And quite honestly, I haven't seen an angle like that done in quite a long time, where the urn was held captive from Undertaker. So very curious to see how they're going to continue to play this out. But I think now they have that necessary spark that's needed. Now, some may not like the fact that they went there, but I must say, it is intriguing TV, and honestly, this shouldn't come as a shock to you all. I mean, hell, a storyline was made around Jerry Lawler's death/heart attack. You go a little bit before that, and you can dig. You can find some more stuff that WWE has kind of done. Vince and crew, there really is no limit to how far they will go in the name of entertainment. So why we got some folks that continue to be a little bit shocked by this move, I have no clue. Now, as far as Paul Bearer getting inducted into the Hall of Fame, honestly, I don't think it's going to happen this year. The vibe that I was getting from what I was watching on Monday Night Raw, I don't really think there's that much respect, actually, for Paul Bearer. I don't think he's going to get in this year. And I think, honestly, it's good that it's not going to happen, because as it stands, we got a jam-packed Hall of Fame card as it is. I mean, my God, man, we got Bruno Sammartino. We got Mr. Bob Backlund. We got Trish Stratus in there. Need I remind you all, we got Mick Foley in there? It's hard to believe, but Mick Foley is actually part of the 2013 class. That's just how super stardom it is. Oh, yeah, and we also got Donald Trump. So that combined with the rumblings that Madison Square Garden could possibly be inducted, first time ever in WWE history that a venue could possibly get inducted into the Hall of Fame. I mean, my God, it just unfortunately, as much as it would be badass to see Paul Bearer get inducted, I just don't see it happening. Next year, definitely, I see him. He probably might be one of the first 2-3 people to get announced, but I'd be shocked if he actually went in this year. But that's just my take on that. All right, and also from WWE Raw this past week, hey, we got the return of Twin Magic, y'all. We got to see the return of Nikki and Brie Bella, the Bella Twins, who proclaim that they are back to try to help save the Divas division because it is just in ruins right now. I'm not sure how some of you all feel about the Bella Twins. Honestly, I think they're good eye candy, quite honestly. I think they're very attractive, and I must admit they do have my attention when they're on TV. Wrestling-wise, you know, it kind of seemed like, and I always get my girls mixed up there because, you know, they look so damn similar, but whichever one had the Divas title last, it seemed like she was kind of coming along pretty nicely as an in-ring performer. I could actually tell that she was really trying to learn, and, you know, it shows. You can tell when somebody's really trying to work hard at their craft, and she definitely was coming off that way. I don't know where she is now since her and her sister have been off of TV and away from the company for a while. It doesn't really surprise me, though, that they are back in the WWE. I mean, after all, one of them is dating John Cena in real life. So for me, if it was just a matter of time before they come back to the WWE, I won't look at this as that shot of adrenaline that is needed for the Divas division. However, I will kick on back, and I will say it is nice to see them because I'm just thinking from that standpoint of how many divas we've seen leave the company, like within the past year and a half, maybe 2 years. I mean, first name that jumps out there off the break is Karma, a.k.a. Awesome Kong, Amazing Kong. We also saw Beth Phoenix. For me, that was definitely a huge loss right there. God, just when you think maybe we could rely on Eve Torres, she rolled out. So, I mean, you're kicking back and you're like, oh, man, what the hell is going on with this division, you know? Kelly, that's another one that rolled out. So, I mean, the names just kept coming, like, left and right there. And there's really not much of a Divas division. And quite honestly, if I were WWE Divas champion Caitlyn, I would be kind of looking at that right now, and I would kind of be a little bit worried about my spot in the company because, quite honestly, the Twins, they've proven that they are worthy of camera time. Some people may not like that, but when you really think about it, come on, man. It's not every day you get to see literally two of the same people, and it's no camera effects or anything like that. It's the actual real deal. You got twins in front of you. So, and they're beautiful at that. So, I mean, hell yeah, you need to capitalize off of that. And honestly, if I'm Caitlyn right now, I would be very concerned about the position in the company and really look at that as a sign of, okay, well, if they are jumping back out there, reaching out to people that used to work for the company, maybe I'm not doing so much of a good job. I better step my game up. And I think it's quite interesting that, and this is just an observation that I've made personally, I think it's funny that when we do see Caitlyn, boys and girls, we see her more in the backstage segments trying to work out whatever, a date or a rendezvous at Motel 6 with Cody Rhodes, than we do when seeing her in actual matches. I just think that's really weird. So definitely take the return of the Bella Twins as a sign that maybe Caitlyn, her days as the champion is going to be over. I actually would not be surprised if we saw one of the Bella Twins actually take her on for that title at this year's WrestleMania, maybe in a pre-show match or something, and actually win the title. That's just how confident I feel. I don't really think they have that much faith in Caitlyn, unfortunately, but I could be wrong. Wait a couple more weeks, and we should be able to see what happens. Also on Raw from this past week, we got to see the continuation of Mark Henry and Ryback to quote a System of a Down song, "My dick is much bigger than yours." We saw these two guys just really eyeballing the hell out of each other within recent weeks, but it really came to head this past Monday as Ryback was in action against Heath Slater from 3MB. Made quick work out of him. Post-match, other 3MB members, they tried to get the jump on him, but he was able to lay him out with shell shock. Well, Mark Henry was actually watching all this go down, trying to see what Ryback was going to do. Got in the ring. Yeah, Mark Henry was impressed, but he wanted to do a little bit of showboating of his own. And it looks like poor Drew McIntyre was the victim for this night as he just back and forth like a damn pinball. He got the World's Strongest Slam, followed by a Shell Shock, followed by another World's Strongest Slam, followed by a Shell Shock. You just felt so sorry for Drew McIntyre. Hilarious stuff, though. But, we kick back and we see Mark Henry right back. I mean, these guys, they just really want to have at it already. And I'm just loving the continued but slow tease that they are doing for these two guys. And I think WWE's booking should be given a lot of credit. I mean, honestly, if you'd have kicked back a couple of weeks ago and told me that Ryback and Mark Henry were possibly going to get it on at WrestleMania, I would sit up and say, no, I don't really see how the hell you can make that happen. It doesn't really make any sense. But the way that they've been doing this over the past couple of weeks, they've been nailing it, quite honestly. And honestly, if I was booking this, I would actually have this match end in a damn draw. I mean, both guys are just really looking freaking strong right now. If I were to give an early match prediction, though, I think Ryback is in dire need of a W. Remember, he was jobbing there a couple of months to CM Punk, and just seemed like he never was able to get his fair share there. So I definitely feel that Ryback is long overdue for a win at a pay-per-view, and it doesn't get any bigger than WrestleMania. But I'm loving the continued development of that. Diamond, I definitely want to get your take on that, buddy. And did you get the memo in time about the show?
I got the first one. I didn't get the second one as early as I would have liked.
Sorry about that, man. Yeah, it was
all good.
Yeah, I was like, what was going on here? I was like tripping over the daggone internet. It's like, to quote what Daniel said on TNA Lockdown this past weekend, drop you so bad, I'm going to drop you like Faraz and Fios. And, man, I tell you, Fios is kicking my ass, man. I definitely want to get your take because I had just got done telling the folks about the CM Punk Paul Bearer segment, how we were literally talking about this last week. We say, is it possible that they're going to go there? They're going to try to use a little bit of are they going to possibly tap into what went down? And sure enough, they did. I have shared some of the comments that some folks had to say about the segment, which was pretty much WWE, how could you? But it's like, come on, really? Do you have to ask that? It's like these are the same guys that did the thing with Jerry Lawler. You knew it was going to happen, but I don't know. Are you kind of getting the same impression that I was, that at this point WWE really wasn't sure from a writing perspective where they wanted to go with this rivalry?
Actually, I disagree. When we talked about it initially, I'm just coming at it from the standpoint of tasteless, and I just hope that they didn't do it. To me, they walked the line. They did not offend. They did about as much as you can do without offending. But at the end of the day, I think that they were going to incorporate Paul Bearer in it anyway, assuming that he was living. I think that they were going to incorporate him in it, and I think they just kind of went with the plan that they already were going to go, but, obviously without him being able to actually participate. I think that they would have had the match with Kane and him regardless. I think that he would have done something to Paul Bearer to get the reactions, similar reactions than we got. Of course, not identical, but I think that they had no choice but to do this. This close to WrestleMania, we have to, get the thing going. And if they didn't do this, this would have hurt. It would have hurt the match. And this is one of the big 3 matches on the bill. I wasn't offended though. I thought that I would be. When I heard the music, I thought that his music came on a bit quicker than I would have liked. But they paid tribute to him all night. Yeah. And I don't remember them doing that with anybody else.
Unfortunately, nah. I'm trying to think hard, like within the past maybe 2, 3, 4 years, I can't recall, honestly. And I don't like bringing up this name.
Owen, maybe?
Yeah, I was about to say. Or Benoit.
Or the B word? You want to say the B word?
It's the B word. It's that damn B word.
They don't say the B word too much.
Yeah, that offends a lot of people. But I think I had to go that far back, man. Yeah. But speaking of the tributes, I got to get on it. We didn't talk about it last week because of the unfortunate news that we had got. I like how the past 2 weeks, and we talked about this. I said, can I please get a hot chick? Now, past 2 weeks, we've seen a cute little girl in a tout video giving their thoughts on whatever. And, this week's touts, it was fairly decent. But let's back up a bit. We had that cute little black girl. She sat up and was talking about her favorite Paul Bearer moment. And she recalls basically the last time that Paul Bearer was in the WWE. And I'm thinking to myself, Sister Honey, is that the best you got? It's like she looked like she was 15 years old. So it's like,
that's the only memory she had.
Right, it's like, damn, at least go on YouTube and, look up some stuff and, be like, well, this was my moment. But, that was the best that she could come up with. And then you had the broke-ass Timberland-looking guy at the end there, Paul Bearer, greatest manager ever lived. It's like wearing a white beater and sweatpants, looking like a broke Timberland. I'm like, come on, man. Like, can we get some cooler-looking people? But you know what? I thought, minus the girl, I thought the batch of touts that they had for this week, overall, I enjoyed it. It was like, okay, it looks like they actually tried to go with actual people that, really had a love and admiration for Paul Bearer. I think they kind of went with the young girl just from that's kind of cute standpoint. Because as soon as I heard her talk, she reminded me of, which one was it that was on Tough Enough with Steve Austin? Which Funketeer dancer was it?
Naomi.
Oh, yeah. It reminded me of that. Yeah. Remember Stone Cold put her on the spot and he said, "Tell Stone Cold why you got into this business. What moments was it for you made you get into this business?" And the only thing she could recall is
that wasn't Naomi. That was I think that was one of the girls that's there now, sister.
Okay, yeah.
Alicia Fox's sister, yeah, because Naomi was on.
Yes, that's it. I think that's it. Yeah.
Yes.
And basically the only
Naomi's
thing
on NXT.
Yeah, and basically the only thing she could tell Stone Cold was that she likes Michelle McCool and or something, and Stone Cold was like, "Honey, you just gave me something that just went down within the past 2 years. You can't go further back than that." And she was like,
"Old school to her."
Yeah. I'm like, go ahead. But I thought it was definitely a nice tribute episode. Not really too hardcore offensive, but at the same time, for those that kind of deemed it to be a little bit too tasteless, I'm sorry, but it's like Vince McMahon he's going to capitalize where he can. And quite honestly, when I play it back in my mind, Diamond, I think Vince McMahon and crew, they could have really went there if they wanted to. What they did, as you said, they kind of, just a little bit. It was borderline. That was kids' gloves.
Oh, for WWE, that was nothing. And where we get it, where they we get it twisted in wrestling a lot, and as fans, we tend to catch feelings. But the thing about it is that because it's sports entertainment, and that's truly what it is, it walks that dual line. If this was, let's say, The Sopranos, right, and one of the real-life characters passed away, the character that he portrayed in The Sopranos would be addressed. They would speak about the character, or if they write him off the show, they would talk about it. He wouldn't just, pass away in real life and they would just act like it never happened. I mean, it would be addressed. And a lot of these guys are characters that we grow up watching for, Paul Bear's case, 25 years, more than likely. And so you develop this personal affection with him, but he was playing a character on this ongoing series. And, they had to address the character. They didn't talk about, William the Man or Bill the Man. They're speaking about his on-air, character. And him being such a big wrestling fan, I think that's what he would have wanted, and it was done completely tasteful. Kane, Undertaker definitely have enough seniority to, speak if they didn't feel like something was going, appropriately. Paul Bearer was well-liked in the company, was still under contract.
Legends deal, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, they did him very well. And at the same time, like you said, if they wanted to do bad, if they wanted to bury him, they could have buried him. And I think there were some people that were living that were on that show yesterday who pretty much weren't put in the best positions.
Yeah. Did you pick up the same vibe from what all went down? I couldn't help but say to myself, he's not getting inducted this year. That's the vibe I was getting.
No, he can't. He shouldn't. Yeah. They paid such tribute to him last night. I think that we're going to need like a year break. They gave him all. It just wouldn't fit to put him in at this point.
Yeah. Because, I mean, he dominated big time. I mean, every segment, and then even when Raw went on a commercial break on Raw Active, they were, continuing it on. So, I just don't see. I agree with you. Definitely a year, and then they can jump right into it again. What did you think about the continuation there of Fandango doing his little no-call, no-show?
I liked it. I enjoyed it. I see where they're going with it, and I'm glad too. You asked me about the diva, and I instantly named Naomi because I had Naomi on the brain. Naomi is eventually going to break away from Brodus Clay and company, as she should, because she's a talented wrestler. I see that they're giving her the out, and slowly Fandango is going to be the one to pull her out of that, and probably setting up a heel turn for Naomi.
And honestly, it'd be about damn time because I want to
yeah.
see what those girls can do. I know Naomi can do, you know.
Well, the other one can't wrestle, but the Naomi can.
Yeah, Naomi. Ooh, man, she's a beast. I've seen some of her independent stuff. She's a beast. Do you think? Because it's been a while. It's been a while since we've seen somebody make a WrestleMania debut. You think at this point they're going to try to get Fandango to make his first first wrestling match be at WrestleMania?
I think that's a great idea. After a month's worth of false starts, if you will, I think that would be really good opening early type of stuff for him. I think that he was a little rough with the voice his first couple promos, but he's getting better at it, and it's something that after his segment was over, I'm in my house trying to say it like he said it. Mm-hmm. It's just one of those things, and it works, and WWE is good at coming up with these things, and I can see little kids trying to say it, and it's going to go over.
Yeah. And once again, Jerry Lawler seems to be the only person that's nailing it. And,
he's nailing it, yeah.
It's like, when's Jerry Lawler going to say it? Because I have a feeling whenever Jerry Lawler says it, then finally we're going to get to see Fandango. And what better way to have that happen than at WrestleMania? Who do you think he's going to be taking on, though? You think maybe Kofi Kingston? I mean, he doesn't really have anything to do.
No, I'm thinking it's going to probably be Brodus Clay.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess there's already that little and Seaman kind of planted that he wants to kind of get Naomi away from him. Yeah.
I mean, because the thing is that he built her up. He said you're the only one with talent up there, and so some kind of way Brodus Clay is going to be involved. I'm thinking this seems like a slow build. When WrestleMania season is upon us, they do things right. 9 times out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I did not enjoy the skit with Holly Berry and Kane, but 9 times out of 10 they usually get things right.
Really? You thought it was that bad?
Yeah, I did. And let me also say, I also did not enjoy the skit that I also saw on SmackDown with Del Rio, and it was too long. It was about 5 minutes too long. It just seemed like, I mean, if it was a quick one, but it was, I don't know. I think that they have this reversed. I mean, it's traditionally the American guy in America has got to be the face, and the foreign guy has got to be the heel. It's just really difficult for us to do a reverse. The American patriot is the heel, and the Mexican wrestler is the face. It's just really difficult.
I agree with you. That segment was, it reminded me, and I said this on the 30-minute pre-show last night. I said it came off like a very bad SNL skit. I mean, remember how SNL was when it had the Dream Team back in the early days, and it was even funny in the 80s and the 90s, but it was like 2000s on, it's been struggling, and it's like... Yeah. It's like a bad skit. It's like you get a couple of chuckles those first 2 minutes, and you're like, okay, let's move on to the next one. And they just kept dragging it on and on. And it was like, finally it was like, wait a minute, why are they doing this again? Because now you're saying it's not funny. And I thought it was very interesting that, the placement of that segment, I didn't, I thought that was perfect because if I'm not mistaken, immediately after they showed that bad clip, we saw Jack Swagger, Zeb Coulter, they come out, and you know what? I completely forgot about it until you brought it up because Coulter, the promo that he cut on Sin Cara, man, I mean, comparing Sin Cara to the problem that's happening in this country, basically saying, and this is exactly what I'm talking about, is because of people like St. Cara that comes into this country, can't speak a lick's worth of English, and they're able to take a job away from an American. And I'm just kicking back, and I'm like, man, St. Cara, do you really know what's going on, buddy? Where's right.
Let me tell you this.
Translator, Rey Mysterio.
Let me tell you this. If they're on the road and they're in Mexico, right, doing the same gimmick, he would be, the heat that he would have would be tremendous. But in America, during a recession, a lot of people are probably agreeing with him.
Hell yeah.
And they go to wrestling to get away from this stuff. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, we don't want to hear this. But when you have the foreign guy tearing down America, that usually gets over. But Coulter, Jack Swagger, if they were in Mexico doing this, it would be the biggest. It would be the biggest heel generating thing, on the card.
Yeah. I like how you touched on how we try to take that escape from what's happening in the real world when we're watching TV. And it's funny because as soon as you said that, I know you remember this episode. I think of Good Times when James was trying to find a job. It was one episode, and basically they said he didn't have the right education. They basically needed for him to be more stupider to get the job that he was trying to get, and he refused to lower himself to those standards. And yeah, man, it's crazy. I think you're onto something, man. I think you're absolutely right. If this would have went down in Mexico, yeah. I mean, Jack and Zeb, man, they would have a hard time getting out of that.
Oh yeah, I have spoken with, I've definitely heard him talk about this time in Puerto Rico, and he did similar type of promos, putting down the Puerto Rican people, and gone over very well in the terms of the crowd hating him, and truly being in fear for his life. And so that's what they're trying to do, but it's just not going to get, he comes off as just like one of the guys on Fox News or whatever. It's just like you can watch it, and then you're like, okay, I need to turn the channel. This is getting on my nerves. And it's kind of like that.
Which brings up a very valid question now. Now, we've seen Zeb and Swagger. They've been teamed up now for like, what, about maybe a month?
Yeah.
How much longer do you see this going on? Do you see these two guys wrapping it up at WrestleMania, or it should conclude before summer? Because this could definitely get played out after a while.
Well, the thing about it is that Vince is of the mind that if he likes it, he's going to keep going with it, and it doesn't matter.
That's just true.
What people think. If he likes it, which I think he does, he's going to keep going with it. If he didn't like it, he would have deaded it when the little issue happened with Jack Swagger. I see it going. I don't know. It's just such a bad combination because as much as I like Del Rio, and I'm a fan of the work that Zeb Coulter is doing.
Right.
But I don't know what is it that's not connecting. I think part of it is part of it is Del Rio. I don't think he's being presented properly. I don't think he's connecting right. But I think it all depends on how people are receiving him. And I heard a lot of boring chants midway through Coulter's promo.
A first.
Yeah.
A first. At least to the point where it's very noticeable.
Yeah.
I definitely took notice of that as well. I was like, uh-oh. Because I'm thinking to myself, and the reason why I put that question out there, how much longer do you think they can last, is, okay, Zeb, we get your gist, we get your gimmick. You're talking about the immigrants and all of that. It's like, well, what else can you talk about? That's my whole thing. Is there any, and right now I'm having a hard time seeing culture kind of get past that point and still be fresh and still continue to deliver, these great promos that he's been giving us in recent weeks. It just seems like, and that's the thing, I know that he's definitely capable of continuing to, put some more good stuff out there, but I'm just kind of getting this feeling that, okay, well, Vince likes it, just as you pointed out, Vince likes it, he's going to run with it, and I think, unfortunately, if you don't cut it off right before fans start feeling alienated by it, it's going to end up being pretty sour.
Well, they need to add something to it, and it's they need to add another member to the faction, or do some all out of the arena type of things, maybe. I don't know, something at the board, or WWE does these kind of skits or whatever. Something else, just that's not just promos. It needs to be something else, and I'm thinking maybe if they add another person to the mix, that's possible. Possible way to kind of freshen things up a bit, but it definitely needs some freshening up.
Let me ask you this, and I think this would be a very interesting thing to put out there. Hypothetically speaking, do you think this would be more effective if we had the same cast but eliminate Del Rio? I was about to say Del Rio, but eliminate Alberto Del Rio and Ricardo, and maybe have like a Bobby Lashley or a Booker T in his place. Would it be more effective?
You mean like a black and white thing?
I mean, it's been a while. Quite honestly, I'm surprised WWE hasn't even capitalized on something like that in a long time, with the president being black.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think that's too sensitive. It has been a while, but they've done that so much. I just don't know how well that would be. I mean, I really don't know how well this is going to do for race relations, and I really don't know. I think that's really, really dangerous.
I can just imagine the NAACP just with the emails and the phone calls now.
Yeah.
But I'm surprised. It's but I don't know. They're in a really sticky spot right now. But I agree. There does need to be another person thrown in there. Speaking of another person thrown in there, maybe Chris Jericho. I mean, after all, he's a Canadian. He's not from this country. I'm surprised Zeb and Jericho hasn't crossed paths yet, which brings me to this question. What the hell do you see happening to Jericho this year? I mean, okay, we got this triple threat match. Mind you, talk about boring segments, by the way. That segment on his highlight reel with Brad Maddox, that had to have been the worst highlight reel. And I'm a huge Jericho fan, but that was the worst highlight reel I've ever sat through.
Ever. Yeah, that was...
Ever!
Yeah, how about that? That was yeah, I mean, that was just borderline unbearable.
Yeah.
Hashtag unbearable. Wow. I think it's The Miz, man. The Miz he's just not cutting it in this role for me. This whole, Ric Flair trying to give him the rub. Like, I'm not buying it. I don't think anybody else is buying it. Miz doesn't seem like he's buying it. It's just god awful. And when Wade Barrett came out to just put an end to the back and forth between Jericho and the Miz, I cheered. So it was just,
yeah.
I don't know. It's the Miz, man. He just reeks of boredom.
They've been trying so hard with him. he was WWE champion. I guess he got a little too cocky. They took it away from him. And then they had him eat crap for a little bit. And they paired him up with R-Truth, and really R-Truth was making that, I thought.
Yeah.
Now it's kind of like, oh, well, let's see what happens with the babyface. Now, I heard he recently did an interview where he talked about whether or not he missed being a heel. I didn't get a chance to take a read at that because the internet was down. Well, what did he have to say? Did he miss being a heel?
I didn't see that, but
Did you see that?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that he does. He did his best work as that, and that's part of his problem. I just don't think he's fully committed to being a face, and his idea of being a face is pretty much being the same exact character he was as a heel.
Mm-hmm.
Lately, and I think this is the problem because of these writers who are not wrestling fans and don't understand how it works. But even if you're a storyteller, it just seems like this is just obvious. If you have an antagonist becoming a protagonist or just changing roles, there needs to be a reason for it. And just like with Del Rio, there was never a reason for the face turn. Something needed to happen. He needed to save somebody. We needed to see the change of heart, and it needed to be a gradual thing in order for it to really go over. Miz never had a real point where his character changed, and now he's doing things that we're supposed to look at as honorable. He's the same smart ass. He's doing the same cocky lines. Everything is the same. What's different?
Only thing that's different is he now co-hosts his main event with Michael Cole. That's the only damn difference I see. And he's got a new movie out on DVD right now. It's called Homefront, The Marine 3. Yay. Go check it out. I would actually prefer to go see The Call. I think that movie actually looks pretty damn good. Looks like the past two movies WWE has put out, Diamond, looks like it's been on point. Dead Man Down, Call, looks like they've been on a good streak. Yeah,
and one thing's for sure, they're stepping it up with the cast that they're using. They're spending more money on it, and I think they're going to be a little bit more successful with putting some of the wrestlers in background supporting roles, except for the Miz and what he's in. But for the most part, I think that they're going to probably get it right.
Yeah. Every time they kept bringing up poor Wade Barrett and Dead Man Down, I just couldn't help but think about Kevin Nash in that Punisher movie.
If you blink, you missed him.
Yeah, it was like, was that Nash? It was like, oh, God, they just butchered that up. Brock Lesnar, the challenge was put out there. Dude, I love how this man can just pop up. He gets his little $5 million, and, we see him, for the past 2-3 appearances now. The man hasn't uttered a word. He's just been like, yeah, I'm cool, and Paul Heyman's doing all the daggone talking. What do you think this stipulation could possibly be? I mean, we're hearing the rumblings that it could be a MMA style. You say career?
Yeah.
I'm getting the same vibe, yeah. I'm thinking something along the lines of, the match is going to go down, but if Brock Lesnar wins, Triple H, you're out of the company, you're done. Maybe Paul Heyman takes over?
I'm thinking something like that. Yeah, something like that. Or bare minimum, it's his last match or something like that.
Can we actually entertain the thought of a MMA match?
Wow. That would be interesting. That would definitely be interesting. Would people want to see? I mean, the only problem with that is that I don't think that they need that gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't rule it out because I guess they would say that this would favor Brock Lesnar, and from that standpoint, I could see it being a selling point. But I mean, without any extra stipulation, people would want to see this match, and they're gonna portray it in a good way. I think that the MMA stuff would be a mistake, though, because it's not going to be in the presentation of MMA that we're used to. It's going to be that WWE style of MMA.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't that have to be some type of gimmick infringement or something?
Yeah, definitely. You know, I mean, there's just some things that just adds up when you think about it. It's like you go back a couple of weeks ago and you think about Vince McMahon calling out Paul Heyman, saying, there he is, there's the ultimate fighter, and then you keep in the back of your head every single time they're hyping up Brock Lesnar, he's a fighter, he's not a wrestler. You think about the last match he was in, which was, what was that, Extreme, you had the SummerSlam, where it really wasn't wrestling, that was like a beatdown, basically. Extreme Rules was an extreme match, you know. That was pretty much a fight. So I think, you know, here's the thing, hardcore WWE fans. Don't be all, we're going to get to see an MMA match. If it does end up happening, you're not really going to get an MMA match. You know, WWE's are going to do their own little spin to it. It's probably going to be MMA-related rules for, like, maybe the first 10 minutes, and then they're just going to say, to hell with this, and they're just going to have right at it. I think the only way, Diamond, you could actually do an MMA match is if you have both of these men literally go into the ring and say, yeah, let's actually I would throw it out there. It's midnight. Let's actually fuck each other up, you know? Come on, you know? You know? I don't see it happening, bro.
That's kind of, I mean, the match that he had with Cena was the most effective that I've seen Brock since he's been back.
And that suits him now, especially since he's trying to get away from that whole, you know, pure wrestling background. That's up his alley right now. If he can top that would be awesome. But I pray it's not going to be an MMA style match, because a lot of folks, they're going to be very disappointed, especially if you follow MMA. You know, oh my God! Look, the only way this is going to be successful, man. Vince, if I'm not mistaken, he's close friends with Dana White. I know there's been a lot of times where you know, Vince has tried to have some type of a deal go down with him, but Dana, you know, likes to just do his own thing. The only way I see this working out is if Vince reaches out to Dana and say, look, you know, I'm trying to do this MMA thing. You know, I could use some help. Maybe you could come in. That's the only way I could really see this going down. Would a Dana White even entertain the thought of appearing to try to help, you know? And I don't even see that, man. No,
I don't even think that. Yeah, I mean, that's not even necessary, and I definitely don't see it happening either. But I don't think that's necessary. I think that they, you know, some kind of, you know, if you lose, you don't come back in the ring, you know, you retire, something like that, your career is on the line, something like that is all they need. They don't need, you know, we don't need a street fight. We don't need a MMA fight. We don't need a pink slip on a pole fight. You know, just a simple stipulation like that, or, you know, we get to pick the referee, something like that.
You know, I definitely want to get your takeaway on this for Raw overall. You know, and it didn't dawn on me until Raw was about to go off. Wow, we don't get The Rock. Wow, we don't get John Cena.
I was happy with that.
Very refreshing.
I was happy with that.
Yeah.
It was, you know, because obviously these guys are not going to touch each other until WrestleMania, which is the way that it should be. So we're probably going to get a contract signing. What is this? How many weeks? Yeah, maybe a contract signing next week, or the week following. Get the contract signing. We get a final stare off. You know what I mean? The week before, and just truly keep these guys apart.
So for next week, could WWE afford, now I don't know who else is going to be appearing on next week's show, but could WWE afford to have Cena and Rock gone again?
No. We need both of them back and Brock gone next week.
Okay.
Because and we'll need Triple H's response to all of this next week, and we definitely need Cena and The Rock there next week, especially with this G.I. Joe coming up now. Now we need The Rock back.
Okay. It's been very interesting because, it's like 1 week is like we get the A cast, and then the next week we get the B cast. And I'm not saying that for you guys listening. I'm not saying, B as in a bad way. It's like, it's like Team Avengers and then Avengers West Coast. I'm kind of looking at it from that perspective. I think it's kind of interesting that they're alternating the cast like that. It's refreshing.
Expensive. It is expensive too. So I don't think I think the only time we're gonna see Rock and Brock together is WrestleMania this year and WrestleMania next year when they're wrestling each other.
And they've been doing a superb job of keeping these two guys apart from one another, because I know that they're thinking about that match. But wasn't there an episode of Raw, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was, because we didn't get Brock last week, I think it was the week before. Wasn't there an episode of Raw where Rock and Brock were on the same show, but they kept them separated?
It must have been, like you're saying, the week before, yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Because I was like, wow, how the hell did they pull that off? And, yeah, I'm with you. They got to have, if they can't have both men pop up next week, then they got to at least have Cena definitely come back, and, he needs to continue to push that envelope. He needs to kind of, not necessarily go the insult route, but he needs to kind of put something out there to kind of make The Rock come back and respond next week. But I'm still continuing to get the vibe that they're not going to go down the trashy route.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And, we were talking about Chris Jericho there briefly. What the hell do we see for this guy happening at WrestleMania? Because we know there's that triple threat match going on for that Intercontinental title next week. I don't really get the impression that Wade Barrett is going to lose it. I'm kind of suspecting that maybe Antonio Cesaro might interfere. Remember, he still kind of is dancing with the Miz there a little bit. I think Miz is going to go in that direction. What happens with Jericho? Does he maybe take on Wade Barrett at WrestleMania, or Jericho maybe does something with the Shield? It just seems like there's some of these things that's playing out
there.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that Wade probably needs to drop the title. How else would we get a match between those two? If Barrett comes out as the victor in this triple threat, why would Jericho even deserve a match?
A good point, yeah. I don't know. I'm just getting this vibe that WWE just doesn't know what to do with Jericho just yet. It's like, well, we got him. Where we put him? It's kind of one of those vibes. Because one minute you see him doing this thing with the Shield, and then it's like, okay, what's going on over here, man? Very, very, very confusing right now. I'm glad he's back, though. He looks better than ever. But that highlight reel, that highlight reel sucked, man. I thought this was very interesting. It looks like WWE is going to be possibly replacing their June No Way Out pay-per-view for a new pay-per-view called Payback. And looks like they got a new logo up for it.
What was the June pay-per-view?
It was that?
What was the June pay-per-view?
The June pay-per-view was No Way Out.
Oh.
Let me. If I'm not mistaken, it's No Way. Let me see, because last year's No Way Out was June 17th. Yeah, so it looks like this would be replacing it, because they got this one going down, I believe, June 16th. Let me see. Yeah, and looks like the concept for it is. This is exactly what WWE is saying. With the historic Second City as the backdrop, see just how far superstars will go at WWE Payback to settle scores and gain retribution against their fiercest foes. I'm not exactly too sold.
I kind of like the title.
Yeah, I'm looking at the logo too. It's really nothing too special. Big red text words, little arrow dash in the second A. But man, Diamond, do you think they should keep No Way Out, and could they possibly entertain maybe doing No Way Out and Payback, or it's going to have to replace it altogether?
Yeah, I mean, just like In Your House, I think No Way Out is a pretty classic one. I think it's probably time to let it go.
Damn, so many fond memories though of No Way Out. I mean, I don't know, man. That kind of sucks, quite honestly. I mean, I thought Cyber Tuesday was good, but I saw how quickly they got rid of that. Was that the one time that they did a pay-per-view on a Tuesday?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I think it's just time to let that go. I mean, King of the Ring had its run, and that came to an end. I mean, it's just one of those things.
Shout out to our boy Philip in the chat room. He says, "Happy 1 year, fellas." Thank you for that, Philip. Yeah. In case you guys are joining us, it's our 1 year anniversary. Did not think we were going to get this daggone far. I'll offer some more final thoughts on that in the later part of the show. Let's keep the momentum going. We got some good stuff over here. So, Diamond, we teased it on, I believe, Sunday. Reason why Chris Jericho has yet to sign with TNA Wrestling. And I definitely want to pick your brain on this a little more. Now, this is what he had to say. And, it's not every day I plug other wrestling radio shows. Diamond, I don't know if you've heard this one, but I think if you have, you definitely would agree. MLW with Conan does some good stuff. And looks like there was a final part 2 of a conversation that he had with Chris Jericho. And it was funny because Conan had got a phone call from Chris Jericho in the middle of the night as he was on his way to a next venue. And he was going to be there for like about 4 hours, I think. And Jericho felt like talking up a storm, and Conan had to try to hurry up, get the audio together and all that at the very last minute. And luckily he was able to get this interview done. And he had some very interesting words to say on why negotiations just kept coming up short with TNA Wrestling in the past. Now, here's what he had to say, and this is a direct quote. "Main reason is that I always wanted to work for Vince McMahon ever since I was a kid. I've never worked for anybody else since I stepped through the doors in August of 1999, and I never will work for anyone else. I don't want to go to Japan. I don't want to go to Mexico for shots. I don't want to go to work in TNA. I'm a WWE guy. That's the way it's always going to be. I'm sure TNA is a great company to work for. I'm sure you can do really well there or make some great money or whatever. It doesn't matter to me. I work for the big leagues. There is no reason for me to go anywhere else."
That pretty much sums it up.
Yeah.
They don't have enough money, is what he's saying.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I know at one point he was like, yeah, I'd go if they give me the Sting money. I don't know. I'm kind of getting the impression now that he's just at a place right now where I think Jericho, one thing that Jericho doesn't get enough credit for, he's a smart businessman. He knows, he knows where the money is. He knows where to go to increase his stock. And I mean, my God, we've been plugging it since it premiered. Robot Leagues. I mean, this is how powerful this show has become. In case you guys haven't noticed it, this show originally was exclusive to Sci-Fi. Now it looks like as soon as Raw goes off the air, after you watch CSI or whatever, they show Robot Combat League on USA. So that lets you know how strong of a show this is, because it's been pulling in some pretty solid numbers. And, again, he doesn't get enough props on that show because not only is he the host, but he also does commentating as the robots are fighting. So pretty kick-ass stuff. But Jericho is a smart businessman. He always knows how to, it seems like whatever he touches, it's money when he's doing stuff outside of WWE. And honestly, I think it would be a step backwards for him to go to TNA. It's like WWE, they're on the cutting edge with social media and all that, and I'm not knocking TNA in any way. I'm just throwing this analogy out there. TNA, they got the whole thing with social media. 2-3 years later, TNA just discovered Twitter. They're always a couple of steps behind, unfortunately. And I think Jericho, at the age that he is right now, he needs to be able to capitalize. And I just don't think he would have the same success in TNA.
Yeah, point taken.
Yeah. And I thought this was very interesting. A fan on Twitter had asked Karma, a.k.a. Amazing Kong, if we'd ever get the chance to hear her crackling laugh once again, now that the Bella Twins have returned to the WWE. Only thing she had to say is perhaps. And that's all I got to say about that. That's all I got to say about that. And looks like Triple H had responded to Brock Lesnar on Twitter after assaulting New Age Outlaws, that he will be appearing next week, as you had pointed out, Diamond. That was a cool, funny moment, man, seeing Brock Lesnar destroy, what was that, like 2/3 of DX there.
Well, I'm sure X-Pac will probably follow.
I know, right?
Yeah, X-Pac signing a Legends deal last week.
Yeah, I was like, wow, all right, everything is coming together full circle. It's like, how about that? And in case you guys might be a little bit curious, Raw ratings are in. Looks like numbers are down from 4% from last week's Old School episode, which, as y'all remember, it had scored a 3.54 cable rating and average 5.1 million viewers. Now, it looks like the final rating for this past Monday is a 3.36, average 813 million viewers. That's actually, that might be a little low, but that's pretty damn good for an episode where you didn't have The Rock or John Cena.
Oh, yeah, definitely. That's definitely something that they can hang their hat on and be proud of. With the group of guys that they have. Yeah.
Damn, that's damn good. I'm really liking that. Let's see what else we got for you guys. I think wrestling news-wise, it's been pretty quiet. I know the internet was down over here at my end for a little bit, so I really wasn't able to gather that much stuff up in time. Diamond, any latest rumblings of what's been going on since last we were on the air?
No, not really. I'm actually looking forward to seeing what they do on Impact and how they bring that together.
Lord, yeah. Now that they're on the road and you got Bully Ray, we really didn't get to talk that much about it, and I know we're gonna kind of have to put our focus on talking about Impact Wrestling this Thursday. But one thing that we overlooked with lockdown, after all, this is wrestling and beyond, so we kind of can't go wherever on this show, but we like to try to dedicate Tuesdays to just talking about WWE. But there's some very valid points that we had missed from the post show. One being, it's about damn time. Bully Ray, after all these years being in the business, a lot of people, they thought he really, was never going to become a champion of a company, but he finally does it. And I still remember vividly, I don't know about you, Diamond, but I still remember vividly that one infamous episode of WWE Raw I believe it was back in the mid-2000s, right after they had broke up, Devon and Bully Ray, or back then Bubba Ray. And, he was doing his thing. He was very successful. That was when Devon went into that whole Deacon whatever, and he introduced Dave Bautista. Yeah, and Bubba was just on a freaking roll, and I remember that one confrontation that he had with Triple H, and you was like, man, he's stepping up to Triple H like that, and I think this was around the time where Triple H was either just partnered with Ric Flair or he had the Evolution thing going. I'm leaning more towards Ric Flair was just his manager at that time. And I'm thinking to myself, man, this is good. Bully Ray, he's showing signs of, maybe he could be a top dog. And then I remember him and Triple H, I believe they had a match, if not later that night, it was like the next week, Triple H beat him up, and that was pretty much the end of that. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure it was definitely around where he had Ric Flair as his manager, because I remember he was pushing the multicolored trunks back then, the pink and the blue and the purple, and I couldn't tell you how ecstatic I was to see Bully Ray finally get the big one. I was like, wow, they actually pulled the trigger. I didn't think they were going to do it.
Yeah. I think they should have done it. Honestly, I think the Bully is cooled. I think they should have done it right in the midst of his heel run. The Calfzilla and all that kind of stuff. I think they should have done it then. Like you said, they're usually late on getting on board with things. But it's good to see him, and he's going to do great work as a heel. I like him. He was a very, very decent face, but he's much more effective. It's very difficult to call somebody bully, and he's a face.
Yeah. Damn, Skippy. Let's call him Happy Ray,
Right.
You can forget that, yeah. But I'm very proud of him. I mean, how about that? I mean, you just go to TNA and then you go into what's happening in the independent circuit. We got Bully Ray holding on to the TNA title. We got Stevie Richards, the Extreme Rising champion. And, it's like, wow, who'd have thought that, two of ECW guys, would come out on top. Some people, they may kind of, look down upon Extreme Rising, but, I've seen some of their stuff, and I mean, their early pay-per-views, they definitely struggled. Now it kind of seems like they're getting to that point where, it's looking a little bit more well executed, more produced, and very interesting time that we're in. And what's even more funnier is that it's not Bubba Ray, Deacon, Devon, whatever the hell he was calling himself back then. It's not Team 3D. It's not the Dudley Boys. It's freaking Aces and Eights. I mean, they're reunited, but it's Aces and Eights. And I just think that's just freaking ridiculous. I mean, it adds up when you really think about it. And it goes as far back as to the folks wondering, hey, how come Bully Ray hasn't commented on Devon parting ways with TNA? He kind of acts like he doesn't exist. What's going on? All the little things that just kind of add up. When you think about it now, you're kind of kicking back. You're saying to yourself, he was always in Aces and Eights. Something's up with Devon, and it's funny just, I'm actually starting to really have faith in TNA's concept of stretching out storylines longer. I don't think that this was a desperation move. I think that if anything, they may be just kicking themselves in the ass saying this should have happened a little bit sooner, because we really dragged.
Right, they're kicking themselves. That's what they're doing.
Yeah. It's like your favorite soap opera or God, if you can't relate to a soap opera and you're a guy, then what guy has not watched Dragon Ball Z. Remember how it would take like 24 freaking episodes for Goku to land on the freaking planet so he can fight the bad guy? And that's pretty much the end of the damn season. So, I mean, you know, they stretched it out. Yeah, but I think going forward, I think we can expect some pretty big things to happen for them. And as we said on Sunday, TNA going on the road, you know, now they're going to get a taste of what it is the fans really like, what they don't like. And I pray to God we don't see Hulk Hogan this calendar year try to step into the ring or even try to fight for that title, as a lot of people would just, you know, I know you said it's probably going to happen, but I'm really hoping.
I think so.
Yeah, I'm really hoping it does.
He wants it. He wants it to happen. So we're just going to probably see Hogan versus Bully Ray, which makes sense because that's the story they've been telling.
I could tolerate that one only if they do like what they did with Sting and Hogan at Bound for Glory. What was that, 2011?
Yeah.
That was actually a damn good street fight. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was a street fight. I wouldn't mind it if they could kind of do something like that. I think Hogan, that's the element that he needs to stay in. You know, as much as I love seeing the leg drop, I can always just go pick up my Hulk Hogan Still Rules or Hulk Hogan Anthology, and I can watch all the leg drops that he's done over the years. I don't want to see him injure himself anymore. I mean, it's crazy as it is that he's, you know, even may consider getting into the ring. And, you know, Diamond, dude, I've tried to, like, say I don't think it's going to happen. I'm a little convinced now. I think it is going to happen because, I mean, he just recently had surgery.
I'm going to go back to it.
Yeah. Well, go ahead. He just had surgery, but go ahead.
Well, no. Well, let me say this. Maybe you didn't know where I was going.
Who's that?
I'm back to saying that Brooke Hogan is going to turn on her father. And in the end, she's going to be an Aces and Eights.
You going with the new version of the McMahon-Hemsley era?
Yeah, I'm sticking to my guns. She's going to be in it with Bully Ray. Yeah, turning on her father.
God, I can see it now.
That's the story that they're telling, and I saw this story a long time ago. That's the story that they're telling. I mean, because, you know, he has the world title. He's going to obviously feud with Hardy and initially, and I think that he's going to win that feud. Hogan's going to be trying to take him down the whole step of the way, and then naturally, you know, by summertime or something like that, you have Brooke turn on her father.
That would be badass. Yep. Yeah. I can't wait to see what's going to happen this Thursday. On that note, that should be very interesting.
When's the last time you really couldn't wait to see what they were going to do?
It's been a good
Probably
minute.
Been a while.
Yeah, it's been a good minute. Yeah. Not since freaking Kurt Angle, Samoa Joe won. You know, it's like, oh, I can't believe he just hit Buddy.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like, what's going to happen next? You know, I mean, the interest is definitely there right now. I mean, they are going to be in Chi-Town. Oh, great crowd to be in front of, too, man. I'm loving it. Good times right now. And we're on the eve of WrestleMania. Yeah, everybody's going to be coming out. Let's go ahead and wrap up the show. I want to offer some final thoughts, though. As I said at the beginning of the show, you know, it is our 1-year anniversary. And, you know, we definitely want to take this time to thank you, our loyal listeners, those of you that always go out of your way to check out the show. We know there's some of you that probably might be throwing it down on a graveyard shift or maybe having a hard time getting the little one to sleep. And, you know, we're keeping you company. We definitely appreciate you all welcoming us into your home, your job, pretty much to your ears, as it's always nice kicking back and sharing with you all the very latest and what you might have missed from your favorite wrestling shows, and go in depth. And as I reflect on the past year, Diamond, I started this show solo, and I met my struggles early on. I've been no stranger to admitting that, and it's been a fun ride to see the continued evolution, because I'm one of those type of people. You could tell me the show's good, I'm always thinking about how to make it better. And I think that's the best mentality to have, because when you become complacent, that's how everybody else can get the best of you. And we got some big things planned for you guys. I know me and Diamond, we got to talk about some of the ideas I have planned, but if Diamond's on board for it, we got some pretty big stuff that's going to be coming up. I can't tell you guys right now, because the last time I had a really genius idea, it was actually taken, and let's just say we're definitely going to be doing that as well. That's my only hint I'll give you. But it's been nice, and I think what's really been awesome about this ride is, Diamond, to have you as co-host, and I love the fact that you keep me on my toes, man, and you keep the energy always consistent doing every single show. And I know we don't, get to talk that much during in between shows, but it's definitely a high honor to have you on the show, and I love working with you, man. You're awesome.
Glad to be here. Thanks. Likewise. Definitely glad to be here.
And that's pretty much it, man. Our listeners, we love you guys. Y'all always check out our shows, whether it be on the downloads or we tell you to go check something out on YouTube and our YouTube channel. My God, man, you guys just keep showing love. Every time we put up content on there, you guys check it out. I said a couple of weeks back I'd like to get the comments up a little bit, and I'm seeing that you guys are starting to comment a little bit more on pieces, so, we definitely appreciate that. We love our YouTube subscribers, because they, too, without them, we wouldn't be able to keep doing the show for you guys. And we know there's a lot of wrestling shows on Blog Talk, but none of them is going to do it the way that we do it. We go in depth. We try to do it in a fun, laid-back way. One thing that we're not going to do to you guys ever, we're never going to do a 3-hour show talking about wrestling. And you know what? I don't think it's fair to you guys as listeners to be wanting to check out a show to hear what happened on Impact Wrestling or WWE Raw, and you guys are waiting like 2.5 hours just to hear the results. I don't think that's fair for you guys. So, if you don't like stuff like that, then you know what? You definitely want to continue to check us out on a weekly basis. We give it to you, and, we analyze it, we talk about it, just carefree. A lot of people, they want to kick back and they want to be all Walter Cronkite about it. Seems like every time I upload our episodes nowadays, and this is the truth. I'm not making fun, Diamond. This is the truth. Seems like every time I upload our episodes that we do together on YouTube, I get some guy, just some random people. It's never the same person, but I get some random person that wants to send me a video response to our piece, and they're behind a desk, and they got a coffee mug and a pen, and they got their hands clutched together, and they're like, "Hello, my name is Billy, and this is my WWE Raw report. So tonight on Raw, we saw Undertaker return, and I'm sorry, you've lost my attention in the first 10 seconds. I'm not entertained. Why so serious? Be loose. Have fun with it." And that's exactly what me and Diamond are doing over here for you guys every single week. We're not the news. We just kick back and we're just going to, it's natural. We're not scripted. We don't need scripts. We can kick back and we can actually go, okay, so Raw, blah, 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 off the top of the head. I did not have my computer tonight, okay? The internet was up, but I really didn't have much information to give you guys. I literally remembered stuff just off the top of my head tonight. So, and that is the consistency that you guys get on a weekly basis. You're not going to really find that with too many other shows. You're going to hear a lot of guys fumble. Where's that page? I can't remember. And unprepared. That's all I got to say about that. So, if you appreciate what we do for you guys, best advice I can give you all, just continue to support us, spread the good word of mouth. That's what it's all about. I get asked all the time, anything I can do to help you guys out, yes. You want to help us out, spread the word of the show. Tell your friends, tell your family, anybody you think might be into wrestling, coworker, somebody at school, you name it. Tell them about it, and the best is yet to come because we're just going to continue to push on and keep giving you guys great content. Diamond, I give you the final word, man.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely echo, your sentiments, and I'm definitely glad to be a part of the show and just, proud to make my contribution. Yeah,
and let's show some love to Philip. We need some more slow jamming now. Philip's still tripping over that slow jamming special. A lot of other shows just rip the business, rip the talent, rip the angles, just a lot of hate. And I agree with that 100%.
Absolutely right, Philip.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
I do not like that.
I don't like that either. My whole thing, and I don't want to go all into overtime, but my whole thing, what I always try to do, and this is the writing part of me. That's what makes this show really cool. Is that I've spent so many years as a writer. I independently used to write my own comic books, and I would just sell them. Under the table. Underground stuff, and I also used to help my friends run their little funky, rinky-dinky wrestling promotion that, really didn't go that damn far, but I learned a lot from that. And so when I kick back and I notice something that a particular promotion did wrong, I'm not going to sit up and be like, that was garbage, that was shit, I'm going to be like, well, this didn't work because X, Y, Z, and if, it went down this way, I'm always going to offer constructive criticisms. Just like you're at your job, you usually get a work performance every 90 days or something like that. This is where you did good on. This is what you need to improve on. You do it like that. You can only take but so much listening to two guys bashing a product every single week, and it's like, well, if you guys hate it that damn much, why are you watching it? Right, so it's silly and it's redundant. So we would never do that to you guys. And, as always, we love hearing from you all. You can all interact with us like Philip's doing in the chat room or on Twitter. Have at it. It's up to you to decide whether or not you want to interact with us, but we know there's many of you that just like to kick back, relax, and enjoy the show. And, hey, that's cool, too. As long as you're having fun, we're having fun. That's all that really matters. And that's going to do it. Philip, if you're in the Rock, buddy, I got a special that's going to be coming up. I don't want to give the details about it right now. I'll probably start plugging it next week, and I think you'll like it as well as our other listeners. It's a little special we got coming up in April. But in the meantime, man, wrestling, the talk of it is going to continue on Thursday. We're going to cover the fallout from Impact Wrestling Live as they continue to permanently bring us wrestling on the road in the U.S. Monumental Night. We should definitely be able to hear what the new TNA champion has to say. AJ Styles is going to be in the house. I'm quite sure Brooke and Hulk Hogan are going to be in the house. It's going to be an episode that we're going to be talking about definitely, and we'll also cover the very latest in TNA wrestling news. Be Kind Rewind. Any episode you miss, check it out. Stitcher, iTunes, keywords, RCWR Show. He's the one and only, the hot flaming Diamond K. I'm trying to figure out a cool gimmick name to give you there. Give me a couple of weeks. I'm the one and only Lee Sanders. Thank you guys for checking out our one-year anniversary special. Hope you enjoyed it. That's it. Be safe, be kind to one another. See you this Thursday night. Everybody, take care.